When trying to figure out what to do for this week's video, I looked at my wallet and I had an idea. It was grand. It was shiny. It came to me like dollar signs on Mr. Krabs' eyes. Let's talk about money. We repeatedly mostly only ever see one type of currency in the Pokemon games, the Pokédollar, which is based off of the Japanese yen. So, a Pokeball is worth the same amount as a bottle of water in the Pokemon world, and a bottle of water in the real world would be 200 yen, i.e. 200 Pokédollars, which is £1 for P if you're in the UK, like me, or if you're in the US, $1.39. And for a single Pokeball or one bottle of water, it seems like a pretty reasonable price. What's crazy, however, is the water in these bottles must have been touched by Suicune itself, due to the fact that it heals an amazing 50 HP, more than double that of a modern potion, and the same as a modern super potion. Or maybe it's all just a scam, a ploy by Silphco, a marketing strat to drain the money from trainers' pockets worldwide. It could also be that the value of the Pokédollar has gone down. Yes, you heard that right. Inflation exists in Pokemon, and as much as I hate to say it, there's evidence that there are tariffs too. Now, before we go ahead with this video, warning, maths is involved, and with that a lot of economics. And with that being said, as someone who isn't an expert in either of those fields, if I do get anything wrong in this video, mathematicians, economists, if you're watching, please don't hesitate to correct me in the comments section down below. Now, let's start with inflation in the Pokemon world. Inflation is the rate at which prices rise over a certain amount of time, expressed as a percentage. A quick example of this, an antidote at the Pokemon costs 100 Pokédollars. Fast forward 1 year and now it costs 110 Pokédollars. And by using this formula, current price minus base price over base price times 100, we can determine that the price has increased by 10% of its original starting price of 100 Pokédollars, meaning the rate of inflation in our antidote at the Pokemon example is 10%. Inflation happens in the real world for many reasons, and the most extreme case I can remember myself as a history student is Weimar Germany's hyperinflation that took place post-World War I in 1923 following the French occupation of the Ruhr. Long story short, due to Germany not being able to pay reparations to the Triple Entente, mainly France, the French decided that they were going to take what they were owed by force, by seizing the Ruhr, Germany's main source of coal, iron. It was the place that made them the most money at the time, basically. German workers refused to cooperate with the French and went on strike, and in order to support those German workers, the German government at the time, which was the Weimar government, decided to print more money, lots more money, in order to pay those workers, which made the value of the currency at that time, being the mark, worthless due to the fact that there was way too many notes in circulation. Prices shot up a lot due to this. After all, it's not very cool to casually carry around bucket loads of money in a cheap wheelbarrow if the cheap wheelbarrow itself is worth more than the large sum of money that is in it, especially when everyone carried their money around in wheelbarrows. Now, Pokemon Legends Arceus has a lot of things we can use lore-wise, including the prices of items to calculate inflation, like perhaps a potion or a Pokeball. Now, I will be calculating an average rate of inflation across different prices, but it's also interesting to point out that it appears that the overall effectiveness/quality of some of these items, namely potions and other HP restoring products, have declined over time, whilst it only appears to be the case for all Sinnoh and Pre-Sword and Shield games. Despite the quality decreasing drastically, the price has increased over this period of time. Now onto the calculations. Here I have a table of the prices of various items from both Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Diamond, Pearl and Platinum in Microsoft Excel. I never really knew how easy it was to use this, but now I do, which is cool. Also, my mum did help, so thanks, Mum. But after doing something which I really should have just jotted down into a notebook and used a calculator for, instead of spending an entire 2 hours on Microsoft Excel seething when I accidentally deleted the first table, which wasn't very impressive. Anyways, I had numbers, I had statistics, and I had a decently well-organized table in Excel spreadsheet, which I was moderately proud of. Questionable color palette though. I don't really agree with myself on this one. And here's the results. The rate at which prices have changed in Sinnoh from the common Pokemon ranges from a whopping 100% increase, meaning it doubled in price, to 0%, meaning it didn't change at all. The highest increase in price was the Revive with a 114.3% increase. Now, the average for all of these items for our cumulative rate of inflation in Sinnoh over the last 134 years is 63.42857143%, or just 63.43% if you're rounding to 2 decimal places. I don't know why I find this topic interesting. This is literally just a good tenth of what I did for my maths GCSEs, but add Pokemon into it and suddenly I'm all over this topic. It's weird. Now, I'd like to think that the original Gen 4 games were set on the day it was released, so 2006, not 2008. Please ignore the mistake on the spreadsheet. I am now less proud of it, and thank God I fact-checked myself, or else that would have been embarrassing. Now, for Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is a prequel to the original Diamond, Pearl and Platinum games, it's said to be set at around 150 years ago. Whether that's 150 years before 2006 or 150 years before 2022, which is the year Pokemon Legends Arceus was released, which is 3 years ago by the way, is up for debate. But I'm gonna stick with 2022 as it sets Pokemon Legends Arceus in 1872, which is closer to the majority of Reddit theories on when the game was set. This means that over the course of 134 years in Sinnoh, the cumulative rate of inflation was 63.43%. And by finding out the compound interest with this formula, which is quite complex, and if I did somehow probably make a mistake in this video, this is probably where I made it. But I did check over it and it seems fine. We can figure out that the annual rate of inflation, which in this case would end up being 0.3985 or just 0.4%. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. I do not have faith in my ability to do the maths here. But if that was the case, if I am right, this is tiny compared to real-world statistics. Over the last 10 years, the average annual rate of inflation in the UK was around 2.82%, and for America, that's 2.62%. That's 10 years. Somehow Sinnoh has kept this that low for over 134 years, over a century. And what makes this make even less sense is the fact that moves like Payday and Make It Rain exist. Maybe not Make It Rain in Sinnoh, but moves like that would make money out of thin air. Anything that just generates money out of nowhere, like printing a bunch, like the hyperinflation example, would crash any economy. What is this? Why am I stuttering so much? But for some reason, the Pokemon one is fine. It should not work this way, but for some reason it does. Now, onto the tariffs. I always found it interesting how you could buy lava cookies in Hoenn, a top mount chimney, for only 200 Pokédollars, whilst in Unova, it's 1,000 for a bundle of 2. Same case for the Rage Candy Bar in Johto's Mahogany Town, costing only 300 but a whopping 2,000 for 2. But in Unova, granted, yes, maybe you have to take into account the cost to transport the goods from these regions to another, but for the amount of space a single item bag has in both Gen 3, Gen 2, and Gen 5 games, I don't think it would really cost that much. It's also worth taking into consideration that the only way to get these items in Unova is through the Joint Avenue, a shopping center of sorts, that is expanded by you, the player, by speaking to certain NPCs on different days. This means a lack of competition due to the fact that, well, nowhere else in Unova sells lava cookies and Rage Candy Bars, which would allow the sellers to raise the prices of their products they're selling because, well, no one else in Universe sells these items, so they could raise the price as much as they want to prioritize profit. This also makes sense due to the fact that you can also make money in these games by reselling these items to the gourmet maniac for an even higher price, as even she can't seem to get these for herself without having you sell it to her. So in all honesty, I may have baited you all with this one. There may not actually be any tariffs in the Pokemon world at all, and all I did was use a buzzword to boost my video in the mystery thing that is the YouTube algorithm. And I feel bad for it, seeing as you've watched this far into the video, assuming that you haven't just skipped to this point in the video. But I think there still might be some proof that there are tariffs on Johto's Rage Candy Bars and Hoen's Lava Cookies, because if you look closely, if you ever try to sell these items not to the gourmet maniac, but to your run-of-the-mill Pokemon clerk in Unova, the best they can do is 150 Pokédollars for a Rage Candy Bar and 100 for Lava Cookies. If you sell your items a lot in Pokemon, you'll notice a pattern. Every item you could have bought from a Pokemon or random lady on top of Mount Chimney in this case, i.e. at its original price, will only go for half of its original price if you try to sell it at a Pokemon. For example, Pokeballs in most Pokemon games where you can buy them go for 200 Pokédollars at a Pokemon, and if you try to resell it back to the Pokemon, you will only get 100 Pokédollars. In Johto, the cost of the Rage Candy Bar is 300 Pokédollars, but it sells for only 150 Pokédollars, the same amount that you would get at a Pokemon in Unova. The same with Lava Cookies. Grandma here sells them to you for 200 Pokédollars, but you can only resell it in both Hoenn and Unova for 100 Pokédollars. So these items hold the same value in other regions as they do in Unova. So what gives? Now, with all these factors at play, I don't think I can actually find a percentage for the size of these tariffs, assuming that it isn't just an inflation in price made by the shopkeepers. Or maybe I don't have the brain power, who knows. But for all I know, the protagonists in Pokemon are still children, and even in the Gen 5 games, even if the Gen 5 games are confirmed to be some of the oldest we've ever had, we might just have been getting scammed by the adults in-game. Oh god. Well, that opens a whole new rabbit hole. But I'm gonna leave that for another video because 1, I'm tired, 2, I'm done here, and 3, I'm tired. Anyways, that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching till the end. I should also note that I will now be uploading on Wednesdays 3 PM sharp, so press the bell so you don't miss my next video that comes out every week. And until next time, not only do I hope you like and subscribe, but I hope that you hit all your Fire Blasts, Thunders, and Blizzards, and until next time, wait, I already said that. Keep daydreaming and have a great rest of your week. I'll see you the next time I upload, maybe. Bye.